Chapter 1: The Arrival. As the heavy gates of Riverside Correctional Facility clang shut behind him, Jason Jax Harper feels a surge of anxiety choke him. He steps into a stark world of gray concrete and somber faces, the air thick with despair and uncertainty. Since his sentencing, this moment has loomed over him, a haunting prelude to an unfamiliar reality. Jax's heart races as he's herded into the intake area, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows that mirror the turmoil within him. Each face around him tells a story of desperate choices and lost opportunities, fueling his fears of becoming just another nameless inmate. He inhales deeply, attempting to steady himself amidst the chaos. Determined to not merely survive, but to seek a spark of hope, he resolves to face the challenges ahead. As the reality of his situation sinks in, the prison walls begin to take on a new meaning. Perhaps they could also be the backdrop for an unexpected journey of redemption. Chapter 2: First Impressions. As Jax stepped through the heavy steel gates of Riverside Correctional Facility, his heart raced with trepidation. The echo of clanging metal and distant shouts reverberated in his ears, marking the start of an uncertain journey. He watched as seasoned inmates navigated the corridors with an unspoken code of conduct, their hardened faces telling stories of survival. Jax felt the weight of their gazes, assessing him, measuring his worth in a world governed by power dynamics. His first encounters with the guards were equally intimidating, a blend of indifference and authority that sent shivers down his spine. Each command barked felt like a reminder of his powerlessness. Jax scribbled in his diary that evening, pouring out his frustrations and fears, determined to carve out his identity in this ruthless environment. He yearned to find his place, to understand the intricate social hierarchy that ruled behind these unforgiving walls. Chapter 3: Unexpected Allies. As Jax navigates the oppressive atmosphere of Riverside Correctional Facility, he finds himself drawn to Maria's heavy inmate with a sharp wit and an uncanny ability to adapt. During their first encounter in the dimly lit cafeteria, she catches his eye as she deftly maneuvers through her environment, effortlessly engaging others while avoiding the predatory glances of more seasoned inmates. Their initial exchanges are lighthearted, laced with humor that breaks through the tension of their surroundings. Maria shares glimpses of her life outside prison, recounting the financial crime that landed her behind bars. Jax is struck not only by her resourcefulness, but also by the depth of her character. She embodies resilience against the daunting odds stacked against her. As they bond over shared stories of hardship and regret, Jax begins to realize that in this unforgiving world, unexpected friendships can provide the strength needed to endure. Chapter 4: Tales of Regret. Jax sat on a worn-out bench in the yard, the sun casting shadows on the cracked concrete. Today he met Lester, an older inmate with deep-set eyes that seemed to carry the weight of countless memories. "What's your story, kid?" Lester asked, his voice raspy yet gentle. Jax hesitated, still wrestling with isolation, but the warmth in Lester's gaze drew him in. Lester shared tales of a once promising life, detailing dreams of becoming a musician and the family he lost to his choices. "Regret's a heavy burden to bear," he said, staring off into the dense trees beyond the prison walls. Jax listened intently, the contrast between their ages stark yet their spirits intertwined. In that moment, Jax recognized the universal truth of hardship and opportunity lost. A bond was forged, grounded in understanding and pain, a reminder that redemption often begins with embracing one's past. Chapter 5: The Cycle Unveiled. As Jax settled into the rhythm of prison life, he found himself captivated by Shakur's fervent speeches during their nightly gathering. An activist sentenced for protesting systemic injustice, Shakur's words resonated deeply within Jax, illuminating the factors that had led them all to this place. "We're not just criminals," Shakur asserted, his voice rising above the murmurs of the yard. "We're products of a broken system that forgets us the moment they lock these gates." Jax listened intently, feeling the layers of despair and hope entwined within Shakur's tales. He spoke of the cycles of poverty, racism, and neglect that ensnared many, planting seeds of doubt about societal norms Jax had accepted without question. This awakening sparked a fire within Jax, a determination not just to survive, but to understand the roots of his own mistakes and seek true redemption beyond the walls that confined them. Chapter 6. Creativity in Captivity. In the dim light of his cell, Jack stumbled upon an unexpected solace, a set of worn-out paints and a stack of discarded canvases left behind by previous inmates. Intrigued and desperate for an outlet, he picked up a brush and allowed the colors to flow as freely as his emotions. With each stroke, he poured his feelings of isolation, fear, and newfound hope onto the canvas, creating vivid representations of his inner turmoil. Maria, noticing Jack's budding passion, became his biggest supporter, encouraging him to explore his artistic voice. They spent long nights discussing techniques while sketching under the flickering fluorescent lights. Lester's gentle wisdom added depth to their conversations, often recalling the art he once admired before his life took a darker turn. Art became a lifeline for Jax, a way to connect with his soul, and a means of communicating the unspoken struggles of life behind bars, nurturing both creativity and camaraderie among the inmates. Chapter 7. The Path to Redemption. As days turned into weeks, Jack stood at the precipice of possibility, contemplating his entry into the prison art competition. Excitement bubbled within him, yet beneath it lay a thick layer of self-doubt. His hands trembled at the thought of exposing his vulnerabilities through art, knowing that his creations would reveal fragments of his soul. With Maria's unwavering support and encouragement, he began sketching ideas, each stroke on the canvas a whisper of his journey, his pain, dreams, and hopes for redemption. However, tension rippled through the facility as rival factions began to clash, threatening to unravel the fragile friendships Jax had built. As he navigated this treacherous landscape, he sought strength in the bonds he had formed with Maria and Lester. These relationships became his anchors, guiding him through uncertainty and fueling his determination to not just survive, but to thrive creatively amidst chaos. Chapter 8. The Darkening Shadows. Tension simmered beneath the surface at Riverside, and it only took one incident to spark chaos. After a major altercation between rival factions, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. Jax could feel his heart race as the loud shouts echoed through the corridors, panicked faces revealing the underlying fear that gripped even the toughest inmates. Following the turmoil, Shakur found himself at the center of a lockdown, accused of provoking the violence. As Jax sat in his cell, the feelings of betrayal and confusion weighed heavily on him. The tight-knit bonds he had formed with Maria and Lester now felt vulnerable, as trust hung by a thread. During these long, sleepless nights, Jax turned to his diary, pouring out his thoughts. The entries grew darker, reflecting his internal struggle to reconcile the concepts of justice and loyalty. In a place where survival often came at a moral cost, he was left questioning everything he once believed. Chapter 9. Crisis of Conscience. As the oppressive silence of lockdown enveloped Riverside Correctional Facility, Jax found himself haunted by the events that had unfolded. The fear of violence lingered in the air, and tensions seethed just below the surface. In the dim confines of his cell, he turned to his diary, pouring out the turmoil within. Each entry grew heavier as he grappled with questions of justice and loyalty. Was he betraying his friends by standing up for what he believed was right? The lines between right and wrong blurred as he watched the aftermath of Shakur's incident ripple through their community. Jax recalled Lester's words, "We all have the power to change, but only if we dare to confront our demons." In this introspective moment, Jax understood that self-discovery often came with uncomfortable truths. He resolved to seek answers, not just for himself, but for his friends, igniting a burning desire to find a path toward genuine redemption amidst the chaos. Chapter 10. The Building of Community. In the aftermath of the lockdown, the stark reality of the prison walls felt a little less suffocating. Jax and his friends, fueled by a shared determination to foster a sense of belonging, initiated a series of art workshops. Each session became a sanctuary, a space where creativity flourished as inmates poured their emotions into paint and canvas. Jax felt the weight of their struggles reflected in each stroke, as the vibrant colors transformed the monochrome walls around them. Maria's laughter blended with Lester's sage advice, creating an atmosphere of camaraderie that lifted spirits. Together, they tackled the deeper issues impacting their lives and relationships, sharing not only art but stories of pain and hope. With each meeting, they stitched a fragile tapestry of unity, reminding each other that even in confinement, they could forge a community rooted in compassion. As Jax led the sessions, he discovered that healing was a collective journey, a bond tightened by the power of expression. Chapter 11. A Spark of Hope. As the day of the art exhibition approached, excitement rippled through Riverside Correctional Facility. Jax and his friends gathered in the dimly lit prison yard, their canvases reflecting a kaleidoscope of emotions: pain, hope, and resilience. Each stroke of paint transformed their struggles into visual narratives, telling stories that words often failed to capture. "Tomorrow, we show them who we truly are," Jax declared, determination igniting in his voice. The atmosphere buzzed with camaraderie as inmates shared personal reflections alongside their artwork, fragments of their souls laid bare for all to see. Maria's watercolor depiction of freedom contrasted sharply with Lester's poignant piece on regret, while Shakur's bold graffiti-style work challenged the societal injustices they faced. In that moment, art became their lifeline, a beacon illuminating the shadows of their confinement. Unbeknownst to them, tomorrow would not only celebrate their creativity, but also awaken a deeper understanding of their shared humanity within those harsh prison walls. Chapter 12. The Day of Reckoning. The day of the art exhibition arrived, with an electric anticipation that hung thick in the air. Jack stood nervously beside his completed pieces, each brushstroke a testament to his journey. As inmates filed into the makeshift gallery, their faces illuminated by pride and hope, the stark prison walls transformed into a canvas of expression. Jax watched as Maria, Lester, and Shakur shared their stories alongside their artwork, voices trembling with raw emotion. The connection among them deepened, resonating within the room and challenging the prison's harsh realities. Guards, typically seen as enforcers of fear, appeared moved by the vulnerability on display, some even allowing tears to flash in their stern eyes. The atmosphere shifted as laughter mingled with poignant reflections, bridging the divide between inmates and staff. In that moment, Jax realized the power of vulnerability and expression, not just as a means of survival, but as a pathway to understanding and redemption for all. Chapter 13. A Bittersweet Farewell. As Jax stands by the barred window of his cell, the golden sunlight filtering through creates a bittersweet glow. The reality of his imminent release weighs heavily on his heart. Excitement mingles with anxiety as he contemplates life beyond Riverside Correctional Facility. He gathers with Maria, Lester, and Shakur in the prison yard, their laughter echoing against the cold concrete, yet tinged with an underlying sadness. Emotional farewells are exchanged, memories shared, and promises made to stay in touch. Jax reflects on how their friendships have transformed him, nurturing hope where despair once thrived. "You're stronger than you think," Maria tells him, her eyes glistening with unspoken pride. As the countdown to his release begins, Jax pens his final diary entry, capturing the essence of forgiveness, resilience, and the unbreakable bonds forged in adversity. The echoes of redemption resonate within him, reminding him that every ending is simply a new beginning.